Okay, first chapter of Math 9, 1.1 line symmetry. We went through this the first week in September. Hopefully this will be very straightforward and easy and quick to do, and you'll remember all of this from grade 8 math, grade 7 math. So the first point is you're going to see these grids again, these coordinate grids with coordinate points, knowing that x, y is an ordered pair, and x always comes first, y is always second, and the x coordinate is along the x-axis. So right here is the x-axis. The x-coordinate will be along this line. Then on the flip side, you also have a y-axis with a y-coordinate. So this line right here, hopefully as straight as I can make it, would be the y-axis, like so. And then the other thing to remember as well is how the points work as far as positive and negative. In this first quadrant right here is quadrant 1, x will always be positive and y will always be positive, and your coordinate points, apologize for not being, there we go. Second quadrant, here x is a negative number, y will still be positive. Okay, then once you drop below the x-axis, in the third quadrant, x is negative, y is negative, and in the fourth quadrant, x will be positive, y will be negative. As you go through the homework, assignments, quizzes, you will need to plot points on this grid again, so it's important you know when you have to plot the points, where x is positive, where it's negative, and the same thing with y. So now on to the section we're dealing with for 1.1 is line symmetry. So you're going to be given images, objects, flags, because they like flags for the provincial exam, and you need to determine if you can cut it in half to have two identical halves with one line of symmetry. It's also known as line of reflection, and this is where the coordinate points will come in at the end of this section. So these are the three types of line symmetry you need to know. First one is horizontal. Let's make the highlighter a little bigger. So horizontal, line of symmetry. So they expect you to know these words now, that horizontal goes left to right. So the letter E, if you cut it in half horizontally, each half is identical. The second one would be a vertical line of symmetry, again going up and down. In this case, the picture of the house. Cut it right down the middle, each half is identical. Finally, the last one, which will be a new word for a lot of you, is oblique. It essentially means the same as diagonal, but they're going to use oblique instead. Again, if you can cut it in half and fold it up, most of the time if you have one oblique line of symmetry going from this case left to right, you will also have one going right to left. Again, be careful, check the image and the pictures as you see when we go through examples in both this section and the next one in 1.2. So at this point, try page 12, number 5. There's 3 parts, ABC, 3 different pictures. Just decide what type of line symmetry is there. Okay, the last part of this section is drawing line symmetry using the coordinate grid. It's going to be lines of reflection. You will either do it over a line on the object itself, over the x-axis, or over the y-axis. Now the important part, the first image will be labeled with points A, B, C, etc. The second image will always be labeled as A prime, B prime, C prime. That little apostrophe means it's the second image. If there are 2 of them, it's the third image. When you go through the assignment that is now posted on the website, you will have to draw a third image and a fourth image using more apostrophes. So again, they're called A prime, A double prime, as we talked about in class. Okay, first example is you have a trapezoid here, sides A, B, C, D. You're going to reflect it along this red line. Now unfortunately, this isn't quite right. When you see the other ones, this image will be 2 squares up, so it'll be starting right here and going to here like that, but the points are there just the same for right now. So what you need to do is reflect this image over this red line so it's an exact mirror of what's on top. Okay, so in this case A and D, since they are on the line of reflection, they don't change. Their points will be in the same position. B and C is what is going to be the new point. So you count from the line of reflection up to each point. So B is 2 points above and C is 2 points above. So these new points will be right below. So you'll have B prime and C prime 2 points below the reflection line. So once you've done that, you join the points. Now it's not written here because A and D are the same, but A prime and D prime will also be the exact same points as A and D. Finally, you can join all the points up together and make the reflected image. Now the last thing they may ask you is to label the original 4 points and the 4 new points. So again, we'll just add in A prime and D prime, even though they're the same. So just as a quick review to label coordinate points, A is 1 over to the right on the x-axis, so it'll be 1. And it is 2 up, so its coordinates are 1, 2. B is 3 points over on the x-axis, and 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y. C will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the x, and 4 on the y. And finally for D, 8 on the x, 2 for the y. So A prime and D prime will both be the same, and the last part will be B and C prime on the end here. So B prime is 3 along the x-axis, and since it's on the x-axis, y is 0. And C, same principle, 8, 0. Now you've labeled every point, so just make sure you read these questions carefully. So here's your homework for this section, page 12 and 13, numbers 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 13. Please go through them and make sure you complete them. Again, you'll see questions similar on the assignment that you got for this section, and I really like putting textbook questions onto your quizzes to make sure you've actually done the homework. This is how I check your homework. Again, these PDF notes are on the website for you to print off if you need them, and you can fill them in by watching this video. The assignment was handed out last week. It is past due now. If you haven't handed it in yet, please do so on Monday morning, and we'll move on to the next section.